Hi, Grace.
Hi, Gerard.
Hi, how are you?
I'm setting the camera. Okay. Let's
There
see
you
if
go.
Can you see me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I can see you. I can hear you well.
Okay.
A minute to go before others join us.
Okay, now I can see myself. I couldn't see myself. I had that feeling that I was alone.
Yeah, it takes a while to
just
kind of
hear your voice.
Yeah, no, it takes a while to recognize as well. At the moment, I can't see myself either, but can you see me?
Yes, I can see you.
Yeah. Okay. People So, hello everybody. My name is Gerard McLaughlin. I'm the president of TESOL-SPAIN, and I'm also going to be the monitor for this session by Grace Alchini. We're very delighted to have her with us here. She is a TESOL friend, shall we say. She's somebody who always comes to TESOL-SPAIN conferences, and so we're happy that even though we can't do face-to-face, she is joining us also online. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. Those of you who are joining for homologación, I will be posting question and answers for you in the session. Grace is a freelance English and business communications teacher working in Mexico. She's a frequent speaker at international conferences. And this is an interesting session as well, isn't it? It's like task-based learning and helping people in their jobs. And normally we get people who work as marketing but imagine having to help people with wine tasting. Now that must be a good job for a teacher to have, to be, I don't know if you're tasting the wine as well, Grace, maybe you'll tell us all about that, but we're delighted to have you with us today, and I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm trying to share my presentation. Can you see that?
Not just yet.
Okay, let's see. Going on. I don't know what I have to do because as I'm trying the Hoover app now. Do you know, Gerard, what I have to do?
So are you in Hoover or you're in Zoom, Grace?
I think that in Hoover.
Go to Zoom. Go to Zoom.
Okay.
Join in Zoom.
Okay.
maybe while we wait for Grace to reconnect, maybe if we just write in the chat what our favorite wine is. Red, white, which kind of white, which kind of red, or are you a rosé person? Yeah, sorry for this. Grace is having a bit of a connection problem. I'm just in contact with her with WhatsApp. Hopefully it's a couple of minutes, but good to see that people are writing the different types of wine on the side, and some liking beer as well. Rioja and Argentinian Malbec. Yeah, I think as well, like in the UK, there's such a variety of different wines from all over the world. So that,
Okay.
yeah, we're there. Oh,
Okay,
that's good.
yes.
Okay, no problem, no problem. People have been chatting about their favorite wine. So.
Okay, that's great then. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I changed my browser. Probably I was using the wrong browser.
No
But
problem.
okay,
Okay,
here we
I'll
are.
hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, everyone, for being there. Welcome to Mexico, where it's only 6:30 a.m. So, well, it's not the ideal time for me to have wine. So, well, coffee is the drink at the moment, and lots of water. And, well, I'm very happy to be here with you today. As Gerard said, I'm a TESOL-SPAIN friend. I love that definition. This is my 8th talk today in different circumstances, not so pleasant because I'm here, I'm not there. But anyway, this is very important for me, yeah, to be able to keep in touch in spite of this pandemic and all the circumstances. Okay, without much further ado, I would like to start my talk, which is related to a course I created and devised for wine professionals, sommeliers, in which I decided to apply task-based learning. Yeah, I will be talking about task-based learning, and I will be referring to it as TBL. Yeah, to make it shorter and easier. Okay. So the purpose of this talk is, well, to discuss the main characteristics of TBL, in case you're not very familiar with it. And well, to tell you why I selected this to be the approach in my course. Also, I would like to provide you with some details of the creation and the delivery of this course. And well, to illustrate how this TBL has been implemented here. But above all, what I want to do is to share ideas with you in case you may be running a similar course. Why not? Maybe you have the chance to do it. You are in Spain, or most of you are in Spain. And we know that Spain is one of the main wine producers in the world. So, well, you may have this opportunity, or perhaps you have to run other ESP courses, and well, to see the way in which I applied TBL and what I did, well, that maybe can give you some ideas, yeah, to implement, hopefully. Okay, so I will start by telling you about the story, how it all started. And well, it is a story that led to this situation, which you can see on the screen, in which I could teach a class holding a glass of wine in my hand, yeah, which is something I had never dreamt of. Well, I got into wine tasting, I have to tell you, like 6 or 7 years ago, after a period in which, well, I had to be in bed for a month and a half because of a surgery. Well, I was looking for something different. I wanted to do something different, and something that was not related at that time with ELT. And I decided to join a wine tasting course, an introduction to wine tasting, because I had seen a sommelier, his name is Aldo Guerra. I had met him in a restaurant, in a wine tasting session, and I had noticed that apart from knowing a lot about wines, he knew how to explain what the wine experience was. So I found him I found his approach very didactic, I would say. So, well, I decided to join this course. I did that with my husband, and that was the beginning of a long series of courses, like 10 courses related to different aspects of wine tasting, about regions, about pairing, and well, it was around 120 hours plus many wine tasting sessions with him as well. And well, I really enjoyed that. It was something that I still enjoy, and it gave me the possibility not only to enjoy and to taste the wine, to drink it, but to know a lot about culture, let's say, about geography, about history, about winemaking processes, and different things, really enriching. So after all these years, Aldo and I became good friends. And one evening after dinner, we were talking about English, and he told me that, well, in fact, he trains sommeliers. And he told me that he found that even though they had English classes at university, they were not ready to run a wine tasting session because they didn't have the vocabulary it is very specific, that they didn't have the language in general to perform this, and that they were losing many opportunities, many work opportunities, because sometimes they had to work in restaurants, and they had to host clients that came from abroad, or perhaps they had the chance to work in the United States. And well, we decided to create this course. And the first thing that we had to do was to think about, well, the objective of this course, because it needed to be a short course, I mean, it's something very practical, something that wouldn't take that much time. So the first thing we thought about is the objective. And the objective, of course, was to train these Spanish-speaking professionals to provide their service in English. That is all they needed. But that meant several things, yeah? First of all, being able to run a wine tasting session, yeah, which involves the description of wine, speaking about color, that is to say the appearance, the smell, the taste, all the mouthfeel sensations, and well, to deliver wine service, yeah, whether at a restaurant or at a shop. Also being able to suggest wine, explain the differences, suggest food pairing, and also speaking about the winemaking process and the different types of wine. I'm talking about red wine, white wine, sparkling wine, yeah, and the difference is why they are different, yeah. It's not just the grape, but the processes behind. So, well, I had these very clear objectives in mind. That is all my students would need. And I started thinking about which approach to take for this course. And I soon realized that the best was task-based learning, yeah? Why? First of all, because in that way they could have sessions in which they would develop authentic language, yeah, and they would be able to apply it immediately. They would be doing tasks, almost real tasks, yeah, because, well, they would be doing those tasks in our sessions, yeah, but they were exactly the same as they would be in a restaurant or in a wine club. So they could apply that very soon, yeah, just after the class. So we were talking about tasks that reflect activities, yeah, that the participants were going to be carrying out later on, and that would give them the chance to foster confidence, yeah, to develop their confidence, because in many cases I noticed that they did have the English and perhaps they did have the vocabulary, because they could read articles or watch videos in English, but they always found it very difficult to start doing it, yeah, and to feel confident. Okay, then in these type of activities, there would be a primary focus on meaning, on communication, on expressing their ideas, their concepts, and not so much a focus on language, yeah, even if they made some mistakes, yeah, well, the most important part or the most important factor for them was to be able to communicate in English and to share the experience. Okay, another aspect that I liked is that they would be able to build on what they already knew. As I told you, these trainees had already taken English at university, so they knew how to more or less at least speak English, but and also they did have the vocabulary, yeah, because as I told you, maybe it was not that complete, or they didn't know some words or some expressions to communicate the wine experience, but they had some knowledge and they could start using it and putting it into practice in these tasks, and then add new words, new language items, and well, improve their practice. I'm not drinking wine, I'm drinking water. Okay. So well, the other purpose, yeah, coming after that, coming after building on what they already knew, was to build up their professional vocabulary, to expand it, yeah, to know the difference between certain words in English that if they translate them into Spanish using Google Translate or something like that, well, they look just the same, yeah, but they are not. So, well, we had to work a lot on vocabulary, since there is a lot of specific vocabulary to cover. And of course, well, this allowed the development of speaking skills, yeah, because most of the work they have to do is speaking. And well, they may write an article or something, but the very first thing they have to do is to speak to their clients. And well, that involves not only being able to communicate the idea, but also to do it with confidence. Yeah, they are in a role in which they are leaders of a group, or they are advising a client. Yeah, so they must have this authority when they speak. Yeah, so it was absolutely necessary for them to be confident as they spoke. Okay, so if we talk a little bit about task-based learning, or TBL, for those who perhaps are not that familiar with it, we are talking about language acquisition through doing a task. That is to say, we are not focusing on something like PPP, presentation, practice, production. Yeah, we start by doing the task with some preparation before. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. But the idea was to do the task and then to work on the language that emerged. This task involves the use of authentic language, yeah? And of course, there is a clear goal when you have a task, and we work on meaningful communication. Usually, when we talk about TBL and we plan a class, we divide it into 3 parts, one of them being the most important, which is the task itself. But we have, first of all, the pre-task, in which we try to engage learners, yeah, in the activity that they will have to carry out. And we set expectations, we give instructions, and we do scaffolding or priming, yeah, preparing them, doing activities that may provide them with the vocabulary that they will need, or that will help them collect in their minds this vocabulary they will need because they may have it. And well, it's everything we do to prepare them for the task. And during the task, yeah, we work on developing fluency. That's the main concern there, yeah. And after that, yeah, we have the review, in which we provide feedback, yeah. And in that case, we can focus on accuracy, correcting mistakes, or developing certain aspects of their language use, or providing them with better ways to say something that they have already said. So well, sorry, okay. Let's talk about the course itself. Let me tell you that I had to go through plenty of preparation, yeah? It is a specific field. I had taken classes, I had had some experience, but well, when you're going to run a course, yeah, you obviously about a certain topic, you have to become really familiar with the language and also with the contents. Yeah, so I did plenty of reading and studying. Yeah, sometimes this study could be accompanied by a glass of wine, which made it more pleasant. And well, but really it's a very enjoyable field. So it was a pleasure to study, to watch videos. I read many books, read articles, and the idea was to have this close study of the target language, yeah, that they would be using. And apart from that, to make a very careful observation, to do a very careful observation of the language that is used, yeah. So there was recording and analysis of this language, yeah. I had a look at which words were used, the frequency of these words, yeah. I didn't use any tool to do that. I did it manually, let's say, yeah, reading, making notes, and seeing which words were very frequently used while describing a wine, studying the difference between one word and the other when two of them were very similar. But well, it was necessary to get ready, yeah, because I was sure that all these aspects were going to appear later during the course. And also, it was necessary to detect the language that the students would need and for what purposes, in what situations, yeah, if giving advice or perhaps describing the wine, all the different activities that a sommelier can be involved in. Okay. So let me tell you about the course itself. We decided it was going to be a course that would last 36 hours, yeah, 12 sessions, 3 hours each in the evening. And well, I created a syllabus, which of course was not based on grammar or anything like that, but based on topics and tasks, right? So I will tell you a little bit about the different topics that I had to cover, yeah, and well, the tasks that we carried out. Well, half of the course was devoted to the wine tasting session itself. We had a class for each of the stages. Yeah, we have the visual stage, the smell stage, the taste and mouth feel, the after smell stage, which is that kind of flavor that remains in your mouth, and also what we call the finish, which is the time that you feel the wine is still there, even if you have swallowed it. Yeah, that is what we call the finish of the wine. Okay, so in that case, well, obviously the task was wine tasting itself. But also they had to be ready to talk about different types of wine, as I told you, the different big categories like red and rosé and white, sparkling, fortified wines, yeah. And also, well, we worked on that, talking about all these different varieties. They also had to get ready to talk about the winemaking process, starting at the grapevine and, well, until the wine is bottled, let's say. Also, we had to prepare them for the wine service, that is to say, well, in a restaurant, for example, what they would say, what they would ask their customers, and the recommendations, and well, everything involved with in wine tasting at the restaurant, yeah, having a client. Okay, and also suggesting wine and food pairing. So these were the topics that we covered, yeah, and we always had an activity like a main activity, which was that task, yeah, in which they could put it into practice. Okay, so I told you about the stages in task-based learning, and I will tell you what I did in the course. We had, again, the pre-task, the task, and the review. The pre-task, of course, I had to prepare them to do the task by, well, having a look at the vocabulary, mainly the language that they would need. And in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you what kind of activities we did. Yeah. Then we had the wine tasting itself. And finally, the review, yeah, which was feedback by their peers, yeah, by the sommelier, and by the teacher. In that case, well, it was me. Let me tell you about each stage then. Well, we had the pre-task, and for the pre-task, we had different types of activities. Yeah, I will give you some examples. Yeah, for example, we had short texts. Yeah, I provided them with short texts describing certain types of wine. For example, when we were covering the smell stage, well, they had to compare wines. In some cases, they had to compare wines that came from the same grape, were made with the same grape, but that came from different countries. Yeah, and there is a difference in many cases. So, well, in that case, they were exposed to the language of the wine description, let's say. I remember doing that with the smell stage. Yeah, well, comparing what all these wines smell like, in a way. Yeah, in spite of being the same grape. Yeah, but coming from different countries. We also worked on short videos. There are many, luckily we have made access to many videos in which you can find professionals tasting wine and also comparing wines. Yeah. So, well, that was also practicing their listening skills and definitely working on the vocabulary. We also played games. Yeah, for example, well, you have a picture here in the presentation. That was a game that we did at the beginning of the course when we had to study all the different steps in the wine tasting session. Yeah, that is to say, what you have to do. For example, well, you have to swirl the glass and you have to sniff, and then you have to coat the mouth. Well, we had different actions, yeah, that made up the process, and they had all these different steps in these little papers, and well, they had to put them into order and to recognize what stage they belong to. We also played other games, like online games like Kahoot, yeah, testing what they already knew, but using English, yeah. So that was one of the activities that we carried out along the course. We did plenty of brainstorming too. Yeah, I remember doing this when we had to talk about the new types of wines, like organic wines or biodynamic wines and vegan wines. So, well, I asked them to list all the characteristics they had, yeah, and then analyze the differences, because they already had that knowledge, yeah, and by the time we did it, they had already developed part of the vocabulary they needed. And we also worked quite a lot on infographics. There are plenty of infographics online. Also, we used a book. Not that we had an official book or anything, but most of them had a book that is called Wine Folly, which is very nice. It is visually nice, yeah. And well, there are lots of infographics there. And we worked on them, analyzing them, interpreting them, and also they produce their own infographics, like recommending certain wines. So, well, these activities prepare them to collect the language that they would need later on for the main task, which was wine tasting. Yeah. So, and obviously, perhaps that was the most interesting part for them, and for me too. Okay, so in that moment, well, they had to run a wine tasting session. So, well, they tried some wine. They had time to study it. They worked in groups or in pairs, mainly in pairs in these cases, yeah, trying to collect information about the wine, because when you introduce the wine, well, you have to speak a little bit about it. So, well, they were together trying to agree on certain characteristics or certain special aspects of each wine. And then one of them in the group or in the pair, well, went on the stage, let's say, yeah, and ran the wine tasting session, while the others, of course, were listening and paying attention. And what we had, because, well, I told you that we had a group of students, yeah, working together, a team or a pair. Well, sometimes they divided the wine tasting session into two, and both of them had both of the members of the pair had the chance to do it on the stage, as I said, and well, also what we sometimes did was that one of them was given their opinion or their explanation about the wine. Well, another member of the group was not there, yeah, and then this person would come and do the same thing, and then we would compare the two performances, right? We usually had like 3 different types of wine per session, which gave the whole group the chance to participate and to be in charge of the session. Anyway, after this, after the description was finished, yeah, we had the review. And as I told you before, we had comments that were provided by their own classmates, yeah. So there, they also had a chance to speak and to give their opinion on what the other classmates had said, agree, disagree, add information, talk about aromas they had not detected. So there was a conversation which really enriched the discussion, not only from the point of view of language, but also, well, for them, it was interesting to be talking and discovering new aspects of that wine. Then there was the feedback by the master sommelier, that is to say, well, in this case, Aldo, my partner in this course, where he gave feedback about the topic itself. And finally, there was my feedback, and this was, in this case, yes, focus on language. Yeah, the focus on language, on new vocabulary, correcting things that they had said, or adding information, checking on pronunciation. Okay, so in this way, well, they had this language feedback, which they really paid attention to and took into account later on. Okay, as a final task, because we were thinking what kind of exam can they have, it had to be a task too. So we had 3 different activities, 3 different tasks. One of them was, well, to run a wine tasting session themselves. Yeah, that is to say, well, they were given a wine and they had to speak about it and speak to the audience, let's say, answer questions. Also, we did some kind of role play in which some of the students in the group pretended to be the clients, and the person that was being examined was the sommelier in charge, yeah. And well, we pretended we were at a restaurant and that this person had to provide wine service in English, yeah. And of course, the clients would ask questions, and well, the sommelier had to explain several things apart from serving wine. Yeah, there was conversation going on. And as we wanted to see how fluent they had become, we had a Pechacucha presentation. I don't know if you're familiar with this term, Pechacucha. This is like a PowerPoint presentation, a slideshow, let's say. You can use whatever tool you want, in which you show 20 slides, 20 seconds each. The slides are just pictures, yeah, you cannot have text. And and you set them to run automatically, that is to say, every 20 seconds, the slide will change. And in this case, the participant of the course who's presenting that will have to speak, yeah, as the slides go on, yeah. So, well, that forces them to speak quite quickly, let's say, yeah, because, well, they cannot take too much time because the slide changes and what they have to say is something different. So that was a very good exercise for them to practice and to show their fluency and to be able to speak about these topics, yeah, that they had to study, that are not related to the description of the wine, but mostly related to the processes, yeah. Okay, and they found it really challenging, but at the same time, I have to say that they enjoyed it and they had so much fun. Okay, let me tell you a little bit, in case you're curious about what kind of language was included and some of the things that I discovered while teaching this course. Let me tell you a little bit about this language they had to study, that we had to cover in the course. What is it that we need? What language do we need when we are training a sommelier? Okay, first of all, we have lots of adjectives related to color, yeah, because, well, we can say that we have 3 colors in wine, yeah, red, white, and we have pink, let's say, for rosé wine. But in fact, there are many, many colors because you have to be very exact, yeah, like, for example, for red, you have ruby, garnet, like brick, and for rosé, you have lots, yeah, because there are many nuances. And well, the idea was for them to be able to speak about the different hues and the depth, yeah, of the color, which is related to how opaque or transparent the wine can be. Then also lots of words related to the aromas. And well, you have things that you cannot even imagine. Of course, lots of fruit, herbs, flowers, spices, wood, leather, and even some unusual smells, yeah, that I had never thought of, like horse sweat or wet Band-Aid, which you may find in some wines when they are a bit faulty, perhaps. But in some other cases, even if they are they are really good, because of their aging processes, well, they can develop some of these strange smells that some people may appreciate and others don't. Okay, what else? Well, lots of adjectives, for example, to describe acidity. Yeah, this is something that really called our attention, because in Spanish we tend to have only one or two adjectives for that. Yeah, we just speak about high or low acidity, but in English we have many more adjectives like zesty, tart, crisp, flabby. Yeah, and we really had to study the difference. Yeah, what we really meant, because they are not the same. Then expressions to explain all the mouthfeel sensations, yeah, provoked by factors like astringency or alcohol, yeah, and to explain how this feels in the mouth, yeah, to be able to describe it, yeah, because sometimes if you just say, well, this wine has astringency, well, some people do not know what that means, yeah, so you have to explain, to compare. For example, you compare it with tea and things like that. So, well, they really need language. Okay, also specific terminology related to the growth cycle of the grapevine and the winemaking process. There I had to study many things that I was not really familiar with. Some of them very close to chemistry and to processes, yeah, that, well, that are required to obtain certain characteristics. Also, well, functional language, yeah, that is required in the performance of the wine service, yeah, being able to give advice, to suggest, to agree, to disagree, to listen actively, yeah. I mean, listening to the client when a client wants something in particular, yeah. And of course, the creation of metaphor, yeah. You may have read or you may have listened to people talking about wine, and there is lots of metaphor. In many cases, yeah, people start comparing wine with certain things. Well, they had to be ready to do that, yeah. So we had a special session in which we worked on that. It was very hard for them at the beginning to do it, especially in English, but then they enjoyed it, yeah, comparing wine to a sunset or to a picture, or perhaps I remember the student comparing this to a man, yeah, and she would say that if a wine was too good, it was a man to take to the living room and then to take somewhere else, or just to have a chat with, yeah. So, well, it was very interesting, and they could work on it using their creativity and imagination, of course. Okay, well, here I'm just showing this. We're not going to get into this because I'm not giving you a wine class or anything, but I just for you to have an idea of the different things that we can say about a certain grape, I decided to include this, the Tempranillo, which is one of the iconic grapes in Spain, and which I love. Yeah, so well, these are the kind of cards they have with all the information about the wine. Okay, how did the students like the course? Was it useful? Well, they enjoyed it a lot, first of all. And I think there are two important things to mention as regards, well, the results. First of all is that they could apply it practically, yeah. I have been in touch with all these students, and they had the chance to put this into practice. One of my students is now living in Switzerland, and he's doing his job in English there. And I had other students who had to run these sessions in English in restaurants, or just because they give wine classes. And well, they told me that it was really useful for them, and that they had become confident. That is the main point, I would say. And the second point is something that gave me satisfaction, which is the idea of different language and different concepts. Yeah, this idea that they understood that it is not just a question of looking up the word in the dictionary or using Google Translate, yeah, if they want to express what the wine is, yeah, and translating the same words they use in Spanish into English, and that's it, yeah. They discovered that, well, a language involves a culture, that the cultures are different and the way we see things are different, yeah. For example, when I told you about acidity, yeah, in Spanish, our explanation is very, or our adjective, let's say, is very flat, yeah, it doesn't say much. In English, well, it looks as if people in English would detect different types of acidity that we don't, yeah, in Spanish. Or for example, the word flavor, yeah, which in Spanish would be, in general terms, sabor, yeah, that is to say something related to the taste. Well, they discovered that in English, when wine is being described, flavor is associated with different things like the smell, that is to say the aromas, the mouthfeel, yeah, and also the taste, whether it is salty, sweet, it's a more complex things, yeah. So that's why they said they found the course really useful. We also had an online version, yeah. I have run this course, well, I'm running it now for the 4th time, and now we are doing it online. Basically, it is the same. We have the same contents, the same activities. The only thing is that we had to have fewer sessions, yeah, because of not because of pedagogical purposes, but because of practical purposes, like people find it a bit more difficult to engage in a very long course that is online. Well, that is something that at least my partner, who is in charge of the course as regards administration, told me. But well, we have more asynchronous activities, which they still run in groups, yeah, because all the students are in the same WhatsApp group, so they can work on certain things in groups, but outside the session, yeah, the classroom, let's say. And one thing that I mentioned in there on the slide is that there is a little bit of more individual work. Let me explain why. When we had the face-to-face classes, yeah, we had one wine that everybody tried, so they could work in groups. Now that we are having the online version, yeah, everybody has their own wine. Yeah, of course we say, well, we're going to taste Rioja, for example. Yeah, so everybody will have a Rioja, but those Riojas can be different, especially because we have some participants from other parts of the country and other parts of Latin America, other countries. So, well, they are not working on the same wine, yeah, even if they have the same brand, let's say it could be a different vintage. So in that way, yeah, these tasting sessions they do are a little bit more individual. Still, then they can do the comparison among the different types of that Rioja they have had. Okay, so conclusions that I would like to give you as regards this use of TBL in these ESP courses, yeah. First of all, use it, yeah. My recommendation is implement this approach, because when we're given ESP courses, most probably, well, they are for professionals who need that, yeah, who need to work, and well, they need to put this into practice very quickly, yeah. So it is a good approach. Then remember that it is important to to work on the language, yeah, on the skill they will need to develop. In this case, it's speaking, yeah, and something like giving a presentation, and mostly to develop confidence. Yeah, many times what these professionals are lacking is that confidence. Yeah, that is not so, it is not so much a question of lacking the language, but not feeling feeling confident enough to perform. Also, another recommendation is, well, to study their field and find out what they actually need to do. Yeah, because well, sometimes we may discuss topics, but perhaps they are not so relevant to their practice, or we focus on certain skills that will not be that necessary. Okay, the main focus, yeah, is to be fluent, yeah, to make them fluent. So the idea is to work on that and also to help them to be accurate, yeah, but not to concentrate so much on the language forms as long as they can communicate. And why? Because I think that we are not preparing these people just to speak English, yeah, but to work in English. Yeah, in my case, in this case of these courses I've been running, well, the participants are really interested in being able to work, yeah, in having more chances. So being a very short course, well, we have to concentrate on that. So I think I've come to the end of my presentation. So thank you very much. And well, I don't know, Gerard, if there are any questions. Well, there you have my email address in case you want to get in touch with me. You also have social media. I think that is on the app where you can find me, but well, that's it.
Great, thank you, Grace. That was really enjoyable. Lots of people saying interesting combination, interesting idea. Lots of people saying like the preparation that went behind it and everything. So that's really good.
Yes.
I apologize because I need to be starting the AGM in about 4 minutes. So there was just one question I think that we could probably do quickly, was how many people attended the course that you did?
Okay, yeah, we had the maximum I had in these different versions of the course is 15 people. 15. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, and in some other cases, for example, now I have in this online version we have fewer people. We have 8 people or 9, I don't remember. But yes, let's say something around 10 is ideal, so that everybody can have the chance to practice it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we wouldn't take more than 15. Yeah. Good.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us so early in the morning, Grace.
Yeah, but I'm very happy to be here.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gerard. Thank you, everyone. And well, hope to see you in person at some moment.
All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.